Hey everyone, how you doing? So, this video was pretty much a dare. No, not really. I wanted it to sound cooler than it actually was. So, one of my favorite levels in Pizza Tower is the Sewage one. I can't curse yet, so you know the one. This level is iconic to me, from the layout to the music to even, yes, the cheese transformation. It sucks, but it's fun. And guess what I saw on Discord a few weeks back? This level getting crapped on. Oh, nah. I cannot listen to this slander. So guess what I did? I took things into my own hands, and we're here now. Today's video is a deep dive and history lesson on this level. No, I'm not kidding. This is dead serious. I am actually going to cover every single build that this level appeared in, and I want to discuss what this level is about in order to show that I actually think it's pretty solid. Okay, that's the video topic. Let's dive in. We'll segment this into builds, so let's start with... So, the first ever build that this level appeared in was in the March 2019 Patreon build, and wow, it's shit. Yeah, finally got to say it. I'll probably be saying it a lot more too. But anyways, what does the first iteration of this level look like? Not good, at all. Sorry, did you want to hear something more positive coming from the person who's making this video? Well, I'm not gonna diss you for assuming that I'd be entirely hopeful, but no, this level is unremarkably bad. Let's just start with how Pizza Tower even played during this time period. Serious question, have you ever played pre-Sage? It just felt weird. There were some pretty good feeling aspects for Peppino's movement, but it was not much when you compare it to the eventual Sage. So that janky movement immediately makes this level feel pretty rough, and aesthetically, it looks pretty rough too. This was more of an issue with the game itself, but like, it just looked weird. Though especially in the sewer, as this level was initially titled, it just looks terrible. And that's not even factoring in the shit aspect. Now, as for this particular level, it flowed so badly too. This feels like Wario Land if Wario Land had stiff controls and made you deal with shitty knockback mechanics. Oh wait, that's just Wario Land 2. Anyways, this first rendition of Oh Shit is slow, and that's in a painfully slow way too. Even in Sage, the slower sections are forgivable, and even in this build, some of the other levels are fine. But no, this level in particular has so many problems. The trash cans are by far the worst aspect, and frankly, it doesn't even come close with anything else. They're just everywhere, and they slow you down so much when you're trying to go forward. It's a pain. On top of this, the layout of the level itself is unique, but not in a good way because it's super platformy, and with this version of Peppino, it barely works. It sucks. The controls are already not great. Factor in this block type and we have some serious issues here. But all of it could be forgiven if the level wasn't short. It isn't. It's actually kind of long. You go through like 8 rooms. I can't take 8 rooms of this, I'm sorry. This is not fun to play, and Pizza Time isn't even good here, but at least it's interesting, I'll give it that. But this is the first build this level appeared in. Obviously it's not ideal. With that being said though, do the other builds improve drastically before release? Let's find out, moving on to the other build in 2019, that being Desert 2019. And it's the exact same here, only now Peppino apparently controls worse. And you have to mod it in. No, I'm not getting footage of this, we're moving on. So, this is where things get interesting. 2021 really changed this level, and it took 2 years for it to come back, but when it did, ooh, this is worse, I'm gonna say it. Oh god, what happened here? How did this flop? Well, you can thank both the level length and some of the bullshit this build of Pizza Tower has. So, first of all, the trash cans are still here, they suck, but worse than that, they're incorporated into the level way more than they were before. There's this one section where you need to actually get to the end of a long hallway, and wall running in this game is really hard to pull off, plus there's no uppercut, which makes getting through this one hell. On top of this, the level is slow. You think the last version of this was rough? Try a more completed game. Oh god. It doesn't help that the enemies and pathing was starting to get closer to what we have now, which means, well, what do you think it means? Yeah, now it means that there's some obstacles that have some thought put into them. Ugh. Now, this build isn't all bad. I do like how this level has aspects that the modern rendition does too, but here they're done in a different way. Different in mostly pretty neat ways, except for the pipes. That sucks. I got stuck here for half a minute, but honestly, I think you get the idea of what this build is like just by looking at it. I mean, most of the levels in this build are slow, but this is just tedious. This reminds me of Fun Farm, which we could take a look at, but I digress. Wow, I thought looking at the history of this was going to be fun, but no, so far it isn't. But whatever, let's move on to the last majorly different version of the level, that being... So I immediately have a bias against this build. Not the level, but the build. This one is annoying because everything is sectioned off into places where I need to play other levels to get to it all, and I hate it. The hub world is not fun to navigate, and some of the levels here are not clear with what you need to do. It's a mess. But anyways, as for this version of oh shit, it's fine, I guess. This is basically the between point of bad oh shit and modern oh shit, and it's really noticeable. The trash cans, as an example, actually got repurposed into being what they are today, which launched Pepino upwards, and as you can sort of see in this footage, the level was generally starting to come together, and a lot of this did end up being finished around the time of the next main build, but we're not there yet. One thing I do want to mention here is that this isn't the worst thing in the world. Yes, it has many issues, but I mean, this version of Pizza Tower was weird, so yeah, it's really hard to judge this level when it was a transition point at best. But with that being said, it definitely had more of what the level was known for, and that would continue further in. So Eggplant is pretty unique. No, it isn't. I'm lying. It's just oh shit with very small changes here and there. Ranks weren't properly set yet, so that got changed eventually. Lap 2 also wasn't fully completed, though you could tell that the foundation was being laid here, and some parts of the level were slightly tweaked, like we're talking barely though. Almost all of it is during the escape sequence, and it's just making it a little bit tougher. That's it. It's really nitpicky stuff. And I believe that just leaves us off with the modern level, so let's finally start digging into the meat of this video, that being... Okay, let's start this off with a bit of a heated take. I think the level is good, and please, hear me out before you talk shit. Get it? Talk shit. That's the level name is oh shit. So I'm going to cover the level's main gimmicks first, along with the escape sequence, the secrets, and finally how the characters actually feel in the level itself. I won't go into detail about everything, but generally just a debrief is kind of what's necessary. So starting with the gimmicks here, this level has a few unique properties. We have the entire cheese ball transformation, which makes your character way slower, but also immune to any damage. There's also the now reworked trash can, which shoots your character upwards. And if you want to count it here, there's also the penny pinchers, which are enemies that fling you up to higher places, and who could forget the pipes? These are simple, but also super convenient ways to travel around the level, and they're a lot of fun. Now, these aren't all winners, but I do appreciate how none of them overstay their welcomes or are used more than 3 times in a level, really. That might seem like a negative, but if you've played oh shit, it isn't. Let's be real. None of these are worth keeping around for very long. Now, as for the escape sequence, this has always been one of my favorites in the game. It's so fun. You are constantly moving. It rarely feels like you're losing speed, especially when you get good at running through it all. Lap 3 is scary, but it's so good. It's definitely a preference thing with this level, and I do understand that not everybody likes how it's all laid out, but I don't know, there's something about the sequence that I've always loved. Now, the secrets are kind of like, first secret is super easy to get to, and it barely even feels like a secret when you eventually know which pipes you need to go through. Second secret is a little bit more interesting, both in the spot it's at and the secret itself. This time around you get a mix of cheese ball and penny pincher action, but there's not much else to say. And final secret is actually kind of clever. You basically have to stay on this trash can lid in order to reach it, or you could just be the noise and go for it anyways. And when you do, it's an entire secret dedicated to, hey, the trash can. Cool, I don't hate this thing anymore, this rocks. Now, with all of that being said, how about how this level feels with each character? Well, to end things off here, there's a pretty clear answer for which character feels better, and this answer is one that might explain to a lot of you why I think this level is good. That being the noise. Yeah, so the noise feels really good with this level. I think every single gimmick that's here works perfectly with him. And even beyond that, the ones that got changed for the better. It's honestly kind of amazing how a level not even made for the character feels so damn good with him. Seriously feels like the noise was intended for this, with how insane his movement is. But when you look at Peppino, I think it's fine. He feels fine with the level. It works, but some sections feel really slow, and with his movement, yeah. I think this is why the level is generally looked down upon by the community. Like, Peppino just feels okay here, and the gimmicks, while interesting, are not fun to deal with at times, especially with him. So that's kind of tragic. Still a banger of a level though. I fucking love it for all of its flaws. Now, I might have not said much about it, but God, I just admire it so much. And with that being said, I think I'll end this video on that conclusion. This was different, for sure. Maybe I can make it a series if I actually dived into levels further, which I might. But until then, this was just my thoughts on Oh Shit and the history behind the level. Obviously, opinions differ. I mean, you saw that Discord screenshot. So if you have anything to say, tell me in the comments. Also, if you're new around here and you like what you saw, then maybe consider subscribing. It helps me out a ton, and you get to see more interesting content from me, so check it out. Also, some big shoutouts to my extra YSI channel members, those being Bebo, Dan B, Microwave, Nicholas Vankowski, and Wapfa. Yes, that's 5 this month. Oh my god. Along with my regular members, you all rock, so thank you so much for supporting my content. Now as for me, I'm gonna go ahead and jam out to the secret theme for this level, so I'll see you all next time. Peace.